Hi everyone, this is Nathan Wellman with an impromptu review of Trap. This is the 16th feature film by M. Night Shyamalan, who has been enjoying an incredible comeback over the last few years. I personally haven't been super on board with the whole Shyamalan Renaissance. Split and Old didn't really do it for me, but last year's Knock at the Cabin Door, or Knock at the Cabin, was my favorite horror movie of 2023, and I would say it's in my top three of all of his films, next to The Sixth Sense and Signs. So I was really excited to see what he did with his next one, and Trap is the highs of Trap, I think, are as high as anything he has ever done. Trap is about a guy who takes his daughter to a concert and notices that there are hundreds of cops everywhere he looks. Turns out that this whole concert is a trap for an infamous serial killer known as the Butcher, aka this very same guy. He has to find a way to outwit all of these cops without his daughter figuring out his dark secret. What an incredible premise. Love him or hate him, it just can't be denied that Shyamalan is the master of the log line. And with Trap, Shyamalan's signature combo of darkness and dorky earnestness reaches its ultimate form with Josh Hartnett's performance as Cooper, a very good dad and an even better serial killer slash escape artist. Hartness does this great thing where it takes him a split second, like he's just like a little bit too slow to react with his face to most conversations he's a part of, but then the following beaming smile just blasts away your initial unease. The story plays out like a movie version of the video game series Hitman. In both cases, the main character has to blend into a crowded environment that he must turn into a playground of chaos to achieve his objectives. Unlike Hitman, though, so much of what is fun about Cooper is how uninterested he is in fading into the background. It seems like he looks every cop right in the eye, gives them this big, happy to be there grin, and makes pleasant small talk. His first instinct is always to appear harmless and helpful, and he never uses outright aggression to get out of a sticky situation until the very end. Because of this, Cooper's performance can't help but also work on the audience, Like, the movie never shows us Cooper chopping people up. I am only told he is known as the Butcher, but I am shown an underdog playing a rotten hand with expert grace. I am shown that he loves his daughter. His face lights up every time she gets excited about something in the concert, whether anybody's looking at him or not, and he never even thinks about ditching her. As much as I know intellectually that Cooper is a bad guy who probably has a bad fate ahead of him, I dreaded the idea of his daughter having to watch her beloved father arrested for first-degree murder. I wanted him to get away, even though I knew that I shouldn't want that. And that complexity was just really thrilling. Maybe my favorite part was after Cooper seriously injures someone to create a distraction, and there's this close up as he looks over the life changing injuries that he's inflicted on this person. Like, what is he thinking? Does he feel any remorse at all? The movie refuses to give us any clues about his inner monologue, giving us only these occasional mysterious close ups, a blank canvas onto which we are so tempted to project his usual harmless smile. These moments seemed to be promising a movie that would make the tension between his persona and his true nature ever more irreconcilable, keeping us in his corner but out of his head. I had no idea where things were going to end, and I was so scared to find out. But then the last act happens, and I'm just going to talk about the ending in broad strokes to avoid getting too spoilery. I'll just say that the movie called Trap stops being about the trap and instead becomes a hostage slash kidnapping situation. Characters start behaving quite stupidly at the end here, but I think the biggest problem is that the third act undoes that dissonance that came before. Our POV moves from Cooper to his victim's perspective, which makes his ghoulish nature more apparent and in turn releases us from the moral complicity we were stuck in before. And a lot of the core tension of the movie goes with it because now we're rooting for the victim. His mask falls and things just play out in a much more familiar way. Big man versus small girl wins. Instead of having to guess at his motivations, we are given a tropey psychological profile and a guttural screaming brute pounding at a locked door. By becoming an outright villain, he loses his mystery and agency. He never does get that moment where he has to definitively decide what part of his life he values most. His victim makes that choice for him. The broad strokes of the finale are more predictable than what came before, but the particulars of how it plays out are still filled with a lot of unique, fun Shyamalan touches. The final big scene between Cooper and a woman he is close to is a particular standout. So, it's not all bad. It's good enough for an entertaining time at the movies, but not enough to keep one from longing for a proper ending to the story that the script winds up apologizing for. See you next time.